Hi, I'm Claire. I'm a veterans therapist in Veterans NHS Wales. And to celebrate our 10th anniversary this year, we wanted to share with you some videos from some of the people who've accessed our service. So I'd like to introduce you to Bleddyn, who I had the pleasure of working with, and he's going to tell you his story.
Hi, my name is Bleddyn Rees and I'm 30 years old. I'm currently from Carmarthen. I would just like to share my story with dealing with mental health, being in the military for 9 years, and how I dealt with the treatment, and also like to share with other veterans that may be watching this, the process and the treatment I went through.
So Bleddyn, what were you noticing that made you think that maybe you needed to get some help with something?
So I kind of realised the first kind of signs when I was leaving the military. When I left, everything was new. The whole life was different, and I was starting to realise with low moods, didn't really want to go to work, finding it hard to get up, couldn't sleep a lot, and just being on edge all the time. So those kind of signs I realised myself, they weren't these big Hollywood kind of signs that a lot of people go through with mental health, especially with PTSD, with these nightmares and stuff like that. So I kind of noticed the other lower signs of that. So yeah, that's what signs I noticed.
And Bleddyn, was there anything which made it difficult for you to seek help?
It was more of a stigma for anything. Being in the military, you didn't really speak about mental health, especially when you left. They always say the grass is always greener. So when you kind of leave and you're finding these symptoms, you're noticing things you didn't want to share or tell anyone what was going on, because you're meant to be happy when you're leaving that kind of that life. So yeah, it's just kind of just talking to a few people that just to kind of encourage you to go and do it, and you just gotta go and speak to a doctor and you're fine.
So what helped you to be able to take the next step?
It's reaching out to your closest friends, really. Your closest friends that you have in the military, you'd hope that they wouldn't judge or anything. So just having that conversation with them and just speaking to how you're feeling, really, and by going to the doctors and seeking help, really, it's not a bad thing. It's, everyone needs to talk, and so I kind of listened to them and I took our first step to go and see a doctor.
And what happened next?
So when I went to see the doctor, we spoke about what I was kind of feeling. He then referred me to Veterans NHS Wales, which I wasn't aware of to start, but it's a programme that helps veterans. And he referred me, so initially I got put on tablets to kind of help me in that way, and I got treatment in regards of counselling to start off. And then once Veterans NHS Wales got contact with myself, we've went through a few processes which I'm happy to talk about.
So what was it like having treatment?
So having treatment was obviously very scary to start off with, because you didn't know what you were coming into. You were worried that if the therapists were going to judge you, what you things you were saying, what would other people think when you're going through it. Maybe you didn't have anything in common, and especially the therapists have dealt with a lot of veterans. You'd think that she's probably dealt with people that's potentially lost limbs, or with no legs or arms. So I felt that I didn't belong in that place with my issues. But as soon as you kind of go through a process, which I dealt with Claire, it was brilliant. They don't judge you, you just say your story, and they just give you their professional advice, and you kind of go through a couple of stages. So the first stage was the triage. So we would literally have a one-to-one phone call with Claire, and we would just basically go through how you're feeling. She would ask you a list of questions, and she would determine then if that the Veterans Initiative is appropriate for that, for myself then to go through to the next treatment kind of stages. For me it was, so we went on to assessment after that, which was then more in depth about the questions and what the experience I had. And once that happened, and she's happy, you would then go on to the treatment.
And was there anything that you did for yourself in the meantime, Bleddyn, that you think helped you to understand what was happening?
Yeah, so for myself, I didn't really like standing about and kind of not feeling sorry for myself, but I just kind of wanted to understand what was actually going on. So I invested into, reading books. There's some really good books out there that make you understand what you're feeling and to understand that. Also, I found going out walking, hill walking for me was a massive thing, and just getting out in the fresh air really, and yeah, just that side helped me a lot.
So having treatment, was it like you thought it would be?
To be honest, I didn't really have obviously an indication of what it's going to be like, but once I went through a treatment, we were meeting up on, I think, once every week. Yeah, so it was once every week it was, and we didn't know how many sessions. It was just kind of case by case, and every session, yeah, I'm not going to lie, it was hard at the start. It was very tiring, and you had a lot of things, because there's things I think you've hidden for so long, and you finally brought it out. So the first couple of weeks was really hard, but once you kind of get through that motion, you can just see that slowly, step by step, you're starting to get better, and you had more confidence, and you'll just get to a point where you just know, you and your therapist know that you've come to an end, and you're going to lead off to a good direction.
And Bleddyn, you had EMDR. What was it like having that?
So when I had EMDR, I didn't really know what to expect, because all I had initially was the counselling, was talking, and it came with a process. Claire basically mentioned you can have it indoors, or they brought this new thing where you can do walk and talk, and I thought that was something interesting. I love being out walking, so I thought this could be perfect, joining two together. So it was basically just walking together. You could go for a couple of miles, and we'll just talk about anything that comes to mind really. So EMDR was, I thought, a lot of it is going to be a lot of, eye movement with things, but a lot of it was mixed in. When you're walking, it was kind of with your step and the timing and everything, which is very interesting, but Claire will explain to you everything when you meet and greet her.
So having it outdoors, you feel like that was something that made it a bit different for you? Something that made it easier for you to do?
Yes, definitely, because I was kind of a bit worried being stuck in a room and kind of feel like you're being judged in a small room. But when you're out, it's like you're just walking with a friend, and you're just talking, and you've got that fresh air. A lot of veterans, that's what we're used to. We're not used to being locked down. We're always out. So being out in an environment that you're comfortable with, and then also talking with your therapist, it just becomes natural. And yeah, it's really good.
And what other support do you think was important to you along the way?
So support through family was massive to start off with, them understanding, trying to explain to them what was going on, and so having that support, having someone to talk to. Also, we had a charity called Change Step. They liaise with Veterans NHS Wales and myself, so they work in between, they coordinate with the therapist, and also they come round and see you, have a chat with you. You can meet up for a cup of coffee, and it's someone to basically just to kind of talk to, and it's an ex-veteran as well, so they kind of understand where you've gone through, and there's a very good chance they've gone through that process as what you're going through as well, so highly recommended with that.
So Bleddyn, how have things been since you finished treatment?
So since I finished treatment, me and Claire obviously had an agreement towards the end that this was the right time to do it. For myself and work, we knew that needed to come to an end so I can progress with my work. So I was very fortunate that after a couple of weeks after, I took my interview to go progress in my job, and I was successfully, I passed that. So things like that happened. I'm now walking a lot more outside. I'm doing a lot of hill walking, so I've done all the Welsh peaks now, so that was good. And I'm also flying my drone a lot more, so I'm trying to bring that editing and videoing into it as well. So my life from now and what it was a year and a half ago is completely different places, so yeah, you've got to do it.
And so what's next for you, Bleddyn?
So next for me is I would like to support any veteran, and possibly when it comes to doing this, what I'm doing, trying to just spread the message out there that when you're in this position, it's okay to feel how you're feeling. And I know it's scary, but it's okay to reach out to people. Just go to your doctor, they will refer you. Veterans NHS Wales are brilliant. They'll talk to you, will take their time, and you will get better. You just got to hold on. It is quite a long process, but it's worth it.
Bleddyn, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to say something small. Just if you're watching this and you are struggling and you think you've got the signs, and it don't have to be, like I explained before, it doesn't have to be, you know, fireworks, nightmares and stuff like that. You could just be, you're struggling to work, you don't know how to communicate with people, you're just feeling low moods, and you're just feeling really down. You know, I thought I was just maybe depressed or it is, but once you actually get some help and see people, you realise there's a lot more things going on what you think it is. So yes, if you're watching this, just reach out, and I promise you it's the best thing you'll ever do.
I'd like to thank Bleddyn for sharing his story with us, and to say that if you'd like to know any more information about therapy, about EMDR, about any of the services that we offer, our details are going to be following the end of this video. And if you'd like to find out more information, you can watch some of the other videos that we've got on our page. Thank you.